Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Nerd Chronicles with your hosts, the socially awkward nerd, Christian Paul speaking. And ladies and gentlemen, I just recently saw the pseudo alpha guru, one half of the FreshandFit podcast, Myron Gaines, being a part of the Uncensored America platform, which, after reviewing much deeper and actually going through its channel and actually going through its background, I start to realize that it's basically more of like an alt-right, hardcore alt-right platform with a bunch of isms, hardcore white supremacy, all this isms, racism, anti-Semitism, sexism, misogyny, all this other stuff. It's just like a ratchet to be full of like overt, blatant hate under the guise of Christianity, under the guise of traditionalism, you know what I'm saying? Old school values, Women coming by, man gotta handle everything, women gotta stay in the house, all that other stuff. And for those that who won't even understand what the channel's about, I'll give a good, quick peek, sneak peek to actually fully understand what I'm describing. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have this channel titled Uncensored America, in which they claim to have honest and frank conversations with controversial figures, code word alt-right figures, to fight censorship and cancel culture. Translation, we want to actually try and act out our true nature, actually be openly discriminatory on what we do and without being held accountable whatsoever, and they disguise themselves as a non-profit organization, right? So, and they do this through college campuses. They pay the campuses as you come by and spew they weird, pseudo, wicked rhetoric all over the place, and it stems all the way from 2020, and they start posting these videos definitely around 2021, 2022. Milo Yiannopoulos, the alt-right gay dude here acting a fool, Elijah Schaefer. Basically, they get all here talking about Antifa and all this stuff. It's a lot of craziness. Penn State protests coming down. Doyle, Laura Loomer, Alex Stein, Gavin McInnes. It's a full-on ratchet fest. You see him come through in Penn State, University of South Carolina, University of Tennessee. It is just pure on ratchet, and they have other people of other races come by to utilize them as shields to cover their own hatred, to cover their own racism or any other ism that they mainly going on, especially with the pseudo-alpha guru Myron Gaines, who is a fraud in his own right, who is illegitimate based on his own experience when it comes to game, fitness, and women, right? So it's a lot of activity going on. We'll go check through some quick videos and see what they mainly talk about and see the body language of most of these people and see what they say. And I'll definitely give my final thoughts in regards to this hardcore fuckery. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have this young gentleman here who has basically about the same views as Myron, but he's basically afraid to call it out. So he's basically utilizing Mr. Myron Gaines as a shield for his anti-black views, definitely like hardcore racial views, basically within other people. So he's just trying to look at his shield. Let's go focus on the interaction that we have at hand so I can formulate my final statement.
Listening to you just because, first I've been listening to, Nick Fuentes, and he's just had you on. You had him on. Yeah, he had you on his you had him on FreshandFit, and just going off of that, I just kind of want to ask about what's your take on kind of the trad wife movement and how I personally think it's kind of astroturfed, where it's almost just like this, like they've sort of like fetishized it, where it's like even the trad wives, if you want to put it that way, many of them still have like an OnlyFans account, many of them just like post way too much on social media, and as a young Catholic, it's just like even the girls that I interact with, it's like they're still infected. Even the trad wives are like still infected with like first and second wave feminism, to the point where it's like I just don't know if I'm going to be able to find a wife at all.
Yeah, no, and that precisely what you described is why a lot of guys go abroad. But yeah, no. To answer that, I agree with you, man. I mean, Matt Walsh, I talked about this as well. He called out Megyn Kelly, thankfully, because Megyn Kelly is, what I would call, you use the term astroturf. There you go. There's an astroturf trad wife right there, right? She sits there and says, I'm a conservative, but in reality, she's just a feminist in hiding, right? And a lot of them are. And I think women have kind of caught on just with the explosion of popularity of like this type of content and like guys finally getting their balls and, talking about problems in the dating space, where a lot of women have kind of like pivoted and realized, oh, this is a new grift. I can kind of come in here and be like a trad woman. But the reality is that a lot of these women are just feminists undercover. So I agree with you on that.
So, Myron, you said we should remove women's right to vote because...
All right, there's some that he was discussing that I want to definitely pick up on. And I'm going to get to young lady in a bit later as well. There's some other people that are mainly there. Yeah, here he comes again. Let's see what he has to say.
Legal immigrant in a car, and he was wanted by ICE, all that stuff. But the real incident I want to talk about is what happened in Frisco, Texas about a month ago, which was the murder of Austin Metcalf by Carmelo Anthony. And why has Donald Trump not said a single word about this issue? How long are we going to let white people be murdered in the streets before we do something? I am tired of this.
Well, no, I mean, I see some of you guys are laughing, but the reality is if it was the other way around, you guys would be burning down the city, if we're going to be honest here, right?
And a lot of white supremacists mainly literally burn down cities as well over a lie that one of their women, or basically crying and allegedly being like a violation victim by a black man. And a lot of times they mainly actually spew out lies saying, oh, he R'd me. And then they start going off mainly burning cities down and actually killing various innocent people all throughout the whole town. We've seen it happen. It's been happening all throughout history. It has been documented.
Got the black one in the back screaming and laughing at him.
And I don't know what to make this look like.
Hold on. Let me, because this is the thing, because a couple of the people here are laughing at your rage.
Yeah, it's just, and it's unfortunate that someone passed away over something like this based on the bullying. You hate seeing like this definitely have to happen. However, it stems from you have to keep your hands to yourself and don't put yourself in vulnerable positions because you cannot predict how people are going to react whenever you actually try and push them way too far. So I understand that gentleman's upset and he's very frustrated in regards with that. And hopefully all the facts will be uncovered in regards to his case. And I'll definitely discuss more in regards with this scenario on the Austin Metcalf situation. I'm in the middle of actually editing it definitely right now as we speak. Whenever I have enough time, I'll definitely get it out as soon as I can. Right? But I can understand that gentleman's frustration. But he's trying to use that as a cover to try and fuel his racist hate as well.
But I find it interesting that if it was the other way around, they can burn down a city like Minneapolis over George Fentanyl. But if he goes ahead and expresses some rage, you guys laugh at him, which is interesting to me because they can't be honest about this, where there is seriously a problem in America where a small percentage of people are committing a majority of the violent crime. What?
Yeah, I do want to get with that. I do want to discuss about that part. Ladies and gentlemen, when you look into the United States Census Bureau, you see a lot of mainstream outlets, especially with these alt-right outlets. They utilize a lot of trick bag statistics saying, black people are 13% of the population, but they commit 95% of the crime, right? But they don't really fully give you like the whole full details on how these crime statistics mainly are laid out on the U.S. Census Bureau, as well as the Federal Bureau of Investigation and Crime Statistics, right? If you go look into the list of what towns that majority of people are mainly living in, look into the FBI crime statistics and look into the race that actually lives within those towns and look within the race that actually commit majority of those crimes. And if you look here, basically like within those towns, yes, you see like a bunch of people actually commit most of the crimes, definitely when their own race has actually been filed and definitely charged when dealing with an indictment and when dealing with a conviction, right? But it doesn't fully equate to the majority of people actually being criminals and them being arrested. Sometimes people actually could get rigged up in the system based on what they have actually been going to face. Sometimes they actually can get booked and can be racially profiled by just wicked people overall or wicked cops overall. That could happen as well. There's another factor to it. And you can also make the argument that as you see a lot of white people that live in the towns that they mainly predominantly living in, they also commit crime as well within those towns. And you see a lot of Asians that live in those areas also commit crimes. The majority of those crimes that are committed are Asian as well. It's basically a term for that. It's called close proximity crime. And you can definitely look towards that in Google and definitely look into the FBI crime and statistics to actually verify what I'm mainly saying. You can definitely look that up, or could definitely look that up in the Federal Bureau of Investigation. That's number one. Number two, the 13% is mainly undercounted, either due to the fact that some people actually skip over the overall population, or some people choose not to partake in the U.S. Census Bureau survey as well. So even that number could be misleading because we don't really fully know the true percentage of how many people are mainly living up in the country. That's why I don't even buy that type of statistical jargon that they mainly spew out. I don't even buy that nonsense as well, because all you have to do is definitely look at what they're saying and try to verify to see if it's either correct or not. Okay, and definitely try to verify it, because you have like a lot of people that are also convicted of heavy crimes, but they don't really get their little times or actually serve heavy sentencing. They get like slaps on the wrist a lot of times in regards with that. But the black people that actually commit the majority of crimes actually get served a long time in prison. They are in there for a very long time. But the white folks that commit a lot of crime, they come by, they get like slaps on the wrist. Some of them don't even serve prison time at all. And others may have like 1, 2, 3 year prison sentences, compared to like black people that actually get like caught with the same offense, but harsher prison sentences as well.
Black men account for maybe 8% of the population, but they're committing something like 50 to 60% of the violent crime, and they can't talk about this, right? So I do think that there's a problem here where we need to address black culture. We need to address the degeneracy. We got to address the violent gang and rap culture, and it's an issue. And the thing is that, you know,
code words, man.
Guys like him can't speak up about it. He speaks up about it, and then we got black girls in the back laughing at him. But, you know, when they kill a black man, y'all are rioting all over the place and burning cities down, and nobody says anything to you guys. So I think he has a right to be pissed off. I mean, I was pissed off when I saw it.
I mean,
everybody got rights to be pissed off. That's fine. But also understand that there are consequences to the actions as well.
Just have kind of a follow-up to that. I just have a follow-up to that. You know, you talking about this is kind of like a socioeconomic thing, a culture thing. Well, if that's true, why have the crime rates kind of stayed the same since the 60s, since the civil rights movement even? You know, before rap music, speaking on that rap music, why doesn't rap music make white people go just murder people in the streets?
It's just sabotage, basically setting up a community to fail. When you deprive certain people of resources, when you deprive certain people of opportunity and you set them up to fail, a lot of them basically just totally tend toward a life of crime, thinking that it's going to be a fast way out, given they actually torment or struggle. So I can understand that part. What they may say, okay, you know, let's try and do it like the drug game, make some profit off of those. And then you do it a crack epidemic, and then you do it for like the 1994 crime bill, where you get harsher sentences just for selling crack. But if you deal with somebody actually selling off fentanyl and all that, you know, or you actually take fentanyl versus taking crack, you don't get a prison sentence, you get rehab. But if you actually get caught at hit of that crack or that cocaine, you know, you get 15, 20 years just for being a drug user, right? So it's like a heavily demonic system that sets up a lot of folks that are not of his ilk to fail. Mainly black people.
You know, is this a culture thing, or is this just simply a race issue?
There's a couple things. Now, this is going to be very controversial, but it's an IQ thing too.
So
an IQ thing, and this is what's banned a lot of the times. That I got to we're on YouTube, so I'll kind of say this in code word, but it's a multitude of different things. It's culture, it's IQ, it's...
Yeah, they saying black people are dumb, black people are ratchet, black people are mainly all over the place. That's what basically Myron Gaines is saying. That's basically what the translation is.
Heritage, all these things play a role.
But yeah, you got like a lot of folks that's definitely within that gentleman's culture that do a lot of things mainly way worse than they actually projecting.
But yeah, there's a bunch of different issues, right? It's a two-tier justice system. There's so many different things that play into it. But I have a saying, around the blacks never relax. So take from that what you will.
And yet he's black too.
Living around white people is not a human right.
Showing their racist nature.
You don't get to live with us all the time, all right? This is our country that we built. Yeah, white immigrants built this country. Thank you.
And then like a lot of black people that actually help build, and you force them up into chains, and you force them to actually try and build for you while you actually try and come by and colonize through violence. Yeah, we see y'all. Y'all don't want to admit that, don't you?
The Naturalization Act of 1790.
No, it's the truth. This country was founded by white Protestant
And yes,
men.
I understand that black people have been a part of this country since the beginning.
Yeah, even before y'all got here. And y'all forced us to build for you, and you forced us to try and maintain the country that you in there for free.
Because of slavery, and I'm not
I
endorsing
think the girls
slavery.
over there don't like what you're saying.
And I know that, yeah.
Showing their nature.
Yeah. And the logical consequence of slavery is that, you have these people displaced in this country, and, at the time, maybe the better choice should have been to just send them back to Africa.
Yeah, but if you send them all back to Africa, you won't even have no country, because you don't even know how to actually react if the black people weren't even in the United States of America. You literally go gung-ho, go by with your reprobate minds, okay, literally go berserk, and some of y'all will mainly follow us all the way to Africa because you will not leave us alone.
Because clearly they can't integrate in a proper society and live with us without just murdering each other in the streets. So it really kind of makes you think, well, now, it's baked in now. What can we do about it? And, some people I watch Nick, like Jason Whitlock, he had the thing with Jason Whitlock where Jason Whitlock says, oh, well, if they're just Christian, man, then, things would be different. But then you look at countries like the Democratic Republic of Congo. That country's 95% Catholic, roughly. And they have one of the highest murder rates in the world. And, they're...
Yeah, because you stripped away their resources and economics from them, right? You won't even give them an opportunity to actually mainly build and actually try and build their own economy. So they're forced to live in that crime-ridden lifestyle just actually trying to stay afloat because they feel like they have no other options. Of course they're going to go into a life of crime.
Country's it's a failed state. And it just really makes you think, it's not a culture issue, it's not socioeconomics, it's not religion, then, what is it?
Yeah, no, I mean, IQ does play a huge role in it. And that's the thing that people don't like to discuss. But, yeah, no, that's true, man. I mean, the truth hurts sometimes for people. But yeah, they've done meta-analysis on this with IQ and race, and the data doesn't lie, In general, black people tend to have lower IQs, so it is what it is.
So basically, Myron has low IQ too. So he's definitely low IQ as well. He's definitely more idiotic, according to what he's saying. He's dumb as well, right? Since black people have low IQs, that means he has to have a low IQ too. He must be like a number one dunce in the world. He no different. And that's the thing that he fails to see. He don't want to be aligned with us. He wants to actually come by with culture, but he don't want to be aligned with us whatsoever. He want to try and kiss white Zaddy's ass.
All right.
And they're going to literally try to use him up and mainly spit him out. So early up in the video, we have a young woman, young college student, that came by and tried to debate in school. And I try to quote school Myron Gaines, not to say that he's right. But the reason why I say school is due to the fact that he does not want to change. He does not want to be convinced based on the mindset. He is here to fuel a narrative, and he's here to fuel an agenda. So let's hear what this young college student has to say. And this took place at the University of South Carolina, by the way. So let's get to this video here and see what they have to say in this debate.
To relationships, right? You have to get down on one knee and give her a ring. She's going to take your last name. She wants to get married to you. She wants to stay in a relationship with you, right? So make them earn it, man. Like they're the ones that want to be a missus. Make her work for it. Shit, you know damn well you have to work for it to fucking court her in the beginning, so.
So you said you had to work for it by courting her in the beginning, correct?
Yes.
So what do you mean by working for it? What exactly did you do?
As far as what does the guy do?
Yeah.
Well, a man has to learn how to be attractive.
And mind you, Myron Gaines has yet to be married. Okay, he's out pimping and, getting this nice kind up, actually fucking numerous women fucking numerous sugar babies and all these things. He's yet to actually be married, and actually, although he has a serious girlfriend you see up in the clips, he's yet to actually propose and actually marry, right? I do want to actually try and make that very clear. So he hasn't really been in a serious marriage or a successful marriage as that to actually get that type of info to this young woman here. I do want to actually try and make that very clear.
Hon, I hate to break it to you, but you don't need to learn how to be attractive. You just
Really?
are.
Okay.
And that's something you ain't. Okay,
I think what she's basically saying that attraction comes through definitely, part of it is actually definitely looking well, but also having inner confidence as well. And actually being confident within yourself and having that type of experience to actually back up what you say. So that's what she's mainly trying to explain.
I want to bring up, talking
Let
about...
me address that first part real fast. So,
Let me add on.
and then you can go ahead because I know you're probably going to an ad hominem attack, but that's fine. So let's address the first thing. You said you don't have to learn how to be attractive, you just are. So I've heard a couple of women say this actually, and it's always very interesting to me, right? I always say privilege is invisible to those that have it. And obviously for you, you don't understand the privilege you have. Men, unlike women, are not born with value. We have to learn how to be confident. We have to learn how to be attractive. We have to learn how to dress properly. We have to learn how to go to the gym.
Not many people are actually born with value, actually. It all depends on the mindset of individuals. Some individuals may have it, and unfortunately, some of them don't. We had to learn actually how to actually try and build the inner confidence within ourselves. It depends on the mindset of the person. Sometimes, you could have like the short end of the stick. Sometimes you have the long end of the stick. It all depends on the person's mindset and circumstances. You can't assume that all women have like silver spoons in their mouths, and you can't fully assume that all men have to actually try and get it out from them but as well. Sometimes they may have the inner confidence based on their personality and they feel they have great looks from great genetics. It could vary from person to person.
To learn how to be competent, we have to be able to have certain things in our background to make us attractive to women, because women look for things that take time to acquire, resources, etc.
External.
So for women, when you got...
But what he does not tell you is to focus on the internal as well. Go to therapy. Seek inner confidence. Learn how to build confidence within yourself. Be respectful towards other people. They don't really fully tell you these things specifically. He doesn't really focus more on the internal. He focuses mainly on the external. And that's where his argument becomes shot down the line.
18. The life is your oyster. You can literally go everywhere. You can do whatever you want. But men don't get these opportunities unless we make something of ourselves.
But what if you have a woman that's definitely born overweight? And yes, they could have some men that actually do that, but she may not have the same opportunities as other women that are mainly attractive. Or the woman could be like a highly nerd that's actually very shy and is not really fully going all out, or actually being out and about like that. It could happen. The woman could actually have a learning disability or a disorder, or she may go through a life-threatening disease once she's young. And she may be going through some trauma at that time, and she may not be able to actually feel very confident, definitely from the inside. These things could happen.
So when women say things like, oh, you just are attractive, like, no, it's a learned skill. Men are not just born attractive. They have to figure this stuff out through a lot of turmoil, trial, and error. And
men and women. I do want to correct that. It's not fully black and white as Myron claims to have.
Sacrifice. So I always find it interesting when women say that, because we don't operate on the same dating timeline as you guys. You guys are born with your value. We must create our value.
How are we born with our value? Please explain.
How are women born with their value?
Yeah.
You
say you
titties.
had to learn all that shit, right?
You literally have a vagina and titties. You are born with value.
Born with value.
Yes.
For having cut off your dick and you're the same person I am.
Not exactly. If the dick is cut off, the organs still got to be internal as well. Ovaries, all these things. That's when she's a little bit off, but I do understand where she's trying to go at it. Not really for the same person, because you got to worry about the internal organs also when it comes to these things. It's not as simple as actually chopping the dick off. You know what I'm saying? But I do understand where she's trying to go. You know what I'm saying? That type of value definitely varies from person to person, as I stated before.
Not really. I'd still be a guy.
Anyways, I want to talk about voting.
Okay. All right. What's it? You want to talk about what now?
You said we don't have skin in the game?
Yeah, they don't really.
So
no.
your skin in the game is the fact that you have to go to war. And
Yes,
you're unhappy with that.
I never said that.
Well, you're complaining about, having skin in the game and that we shouldn't have the right to vote because we don't have skin in the game. But we don't have skin in the game because men set that system up.
Yeah, because women are physically inferior, and that's the truth.
Physically inferior.
Inferior. Yes.
So you're telling me that you could beat a woman's ass?
Yeah. Yeah, I could. I mean, I never would.
What about a woman that's a bodybuilder, right? Or what about a woman that actually learned a lot of combat training in the Marines or in armed forces, or actually learned jiu-jitsu? You gonna try and beat her ass too? If you know about all that karate stuff, you gonna try and actually beat her ass too?
Would, but yeah. Like,
Okay.
And also vice versa too. If you got somebody that's well experienced in fighting, UFC, MMA, Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu, a woman actually trying to beat that dude's ass, especially with their little bare fist, when he's fully mastered, gonna try and actually beat him up too?
like,
I hate to break it to you.
like, are you aware of the fact that, like, probably a 12-year-old boy can probably beat you up very easily?
Actually, I'm an educational psychology major, so they can't because they don't hit puberty till 14. And
Even if they did, okay. Let's assume without puberty, he would still probably beat you up still.
Actually,
Like-
he wouldn't because I have a brother and I'd beat his ass.
Anyway, again, I'm amazed that I have to explain this to a college student, but I mean, men are physically superior to women in almost
I'm
every
amazed
way.
that I gotta talk to
in
this
general.
grown-ass man with dumb-ass things.
Juicy!
Let's be for real.
Okay, so your argument is the whole voting thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, women don't have skin in the game, so they shouldn't vote.
We don't have skin in the
Very
game
simple.
because men didn't let us have skin in the game. You do realize that, right?
Well, here's the thing. Y'all could join the military now. You guys could do everything now.
Yeah, we can because we fought for that right.
Yeah, but you guys don't use it. I find it interesting
We
how
don't use it?
Y'all don't join though. Like, it's
So
like
we don't use our rights?
Y'all don't use it. It's not like you guys want to do a lot of these things. You guys fight for rights that you don't even use a lot of the times.
Like what?
So,
Like what?
oh, well, women want equality, right, all the time. Oh, we want to be able to do everything that men can do. But why is it that all the hard manual labor jobs are dominated by men? Why is it that men control all the infrastructure points, right? Why is it that men are the garbage collectors? Men
Freedom of choice.
are the electricians. Men are the power linesmen. Men are the plumbers. Men are the ones that literally keep society going so that you can enjoy the first world conveniences you do, right? So you can go ahead and have your bullshit psychology degree or whatever it is that you're studying. So the reality is that men make the world go round, and we civilized it to the point where you guys forgot that men really run shit, and we give you the opportunities that you have. So for you to sit there and be able to say something as ridiculous as, can you even beat me up, and you're questioning it, that goes to show how naive you are about the propensity of men to actually conduct violence. That's how civilized we are, which is obviously awesome because you're completely unaware of the savagery that men can put on a society.
Oh, I'm aware.
And
because
you're not,
look at
because
our
you wouldn't have said
country
something
today.
so ridiculous if you were.
I'm aware. Trust. Most women get sexually assaulted. 99% of women get sexually assaulted. You do know that, right? And because of
99%,
men's
yeah.
savagery.
Okay.
Holy crap.
Because of men.
Women
Remember
need to
that.
hide. There's
Because of
a
men.
epidemic going on.
Like,
So anyway,
I'm pretty sure if I point to any woman in this room, they could tell me a story.
sure. Maybe they're
Now, we don't know if they're actually dealing with a rape right now. Like, some could, but we can't say all.
fantasy. Who knows? I don't
Their
know.
fantasy?
I don't know. A lot of women read sex novels like that.
I want you to look at our country today that men have ran and look at how shit it is.
We're the strongest superpower in the world. What?
No, we're not.
Yeah, we
No,
are.
we're not.
Yeah, we are.
You know, countries are warning their people to stay away from us
Wow.
What?
because of how shitty we are.
Do you realize people try to come here illegally every single day to become Americans and or get to live here with
You do
diminished
realize-
benefits, even if because they're not documented? Like, you do
Oh, you
realize,
wanna
like,
start on undocumented immigrants?
I used to work in immigration back in the day. I know this intimately. People literally try to sneak here under intense conditions and die a lot of the times while trying to come here. This is the best country in the world.
This is
Again,
not
more
the
privilege
best
that you
country
don't
in the world,
understand.
I'll tell you that much. I'm an immigrant.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that proves my point even more.
I didn't come here willingly.
You're
Nah, but there's difference between a documented and a legal immigrant and an illegal immigrant. You can't just say that that woman is undocumented automatically just because she immigrated with parents. They may come by legally. You can't just say that the parents are undocumented. We don't know that. We really don't know.
here. Like,
I did not come here willingly.
oh, okay. How'd you come here then?
I came here because
Yeah.
they paid me to.
Yeah, send her back, bro. God damn, man. Send her back, man.
You're talking about send
This
her
is why we
back,
gotta
yet
build
you
a
a
wall.
person of color?
I guess we're no longer getting the best and the brightest. What the hell? This is why I'm so big on,
You
like,
talking
you
about
know.
send me back, but you a person of color?
This is why I'm so big on. We need to go harder with immigration.
I'm sorry, are you not black?
I don't know. It depends on the day.
Juicy.
Some days people call me black. Some days people call me Arab. I don't know what it is, man. So.
What a
Fucker
dumbass.
I am, because he's black, right?
Oh, man.
He a person of color, right?
Right.
He a person of color, right? Shut the fuck up. I ain't talking to your
Bro,
ass.
I get more gray hairs talking to women than dealing with cartel members.
I hate to break it to you.
Okay, so what's your last point? Because there's a bunch of people behind you, but
My point is,
yeah.
you're a pussy.
Damn. Damn.
She's confirming the stereotypes, Trump.
You should be disappointed in yourself. I hope you go home and think about the people you are disrespecting in this building. And that's why your teeth.
Look at the loud black woman.
You're black too. Yeah. Look at your
Juicy. All right, let's dig into another case where you have a lesbian college student actually trying to school Myron Gaines outside. We got one clip here.
So I really think your ideology is interesting. How do I apply it to my lesbian relationships?
Okay. What is the goal? Is the goal to get married? Is the goal to have a serious long-term boyfriend that will, like, what's the goal?
It's to have a lesbian relationship.
Oh, well, you guys are useless to society, so.
Yeah, the outrage and response.
So should I value her less or more?
Well, I mean, you know, you guys can scissor and talk and have a good time, but you guys don't really provide for society.
Okay, so thank you.
No problem. Yeah, I mean, if you're not contributing to a nuclear family, you're effectively useless to society, being honest. Also, I don't think lesbianism is real. I think it's just confusion a lot of the times. Because the reality is, like, see, because I've interviewed maybe almost 4,000 girls on my show, and girls that say that they're lesbian or bisexual, I always like to ask them, well, if you had to pick one gender for the rest of your life, who are you going to pick? And 9 out of 10 times it's the men. And the reason why is because men have to provide value in a relationship. Women don't. Get attention from that.
Let's go.
Going into a relationship or dating with a woman, not expecting sex is like cope. What is?
Yeah,
what
a
is that?
lot of guys tell themselves that when they're in the friend zone. Like a guy will sit there for like 3 or 4 years, talking to this girl, wanting more. He knows he's stuck in the friend zone, but he just kind of sits there and be like, no, I'm just going to be a good friend. I'm going to sit around. Like, I'm just going to be here.
At that point, it's a matter of self-respect, though. Like, if you know you're not getting what you want out of a relationship, why not walk away?
Go some.
But if you do want a friendship for that person,
I agree.
Because women do have value outside of just sex.
No,
then,
correct.
I agree with you on that, but the problem is that most guys can't identify when they're being friend zoned. Is my point.
It's easy to identify though. If the relationship not going where you want it to go, then you can walk away.
You got to understand that a lot of guys are socially retarded and not able to understand when a woman isn't that into them. I'm sure every woman in here has been hit on by a guy that made her feel uncomfortable, and he just simply didn't get it. And there's a reason for that. Women, you know, the one compliment I will give women is they're socially superior to men. They're able to pick up on things quicker. They're able to read the room better. They're able to assess danger. And the reason for that is because they're the weaker gender physically, right? So since they can't make up for it with strength and brutality, if a dude's a little off, he's like ticking like this or he's a weirdo, women pick up on that immediately and like, okay, danger zone, let me get out of here. So that's why a lot of guys are kind of idiotic when it comes to stuff and they can't take the signs.
So correct me if I'm wrong,
Sure.
but is it that women deserve less or men need to know more?
Combination of the two. Men need to understand their value because that is actually, that's the biggest weapon when it comes to dating and intersexual dynamics is a lot of guys don't understand how much value they're bringing to the table.
Yeah, this is the rhetoric that they have up there. I want to see if there's any, because they got discussions that's definitely there for
36
sure.
feet tall and he's good looking or whatever.
All this other external stuff, I already been discussing more of this. I want to try and get into a different video and see the reaction of a lot of college students are actually just outside watching this foolery. All right, we got like some more people actually joining into the party. See what we got right here.
Are you a man or a woman?
I'm asking you. Do I deserve more or less?
Well, probably less.
Even now, when my voice is lower than yours?
Even less now. Because women only get in line when you have other women in line. Now I know that. What was that?
Ooh.
He said you're not welcome on campus, prick.
Oh, look at this guy. Nice jorts. Nice jorts.
Hey, I have another question. Do you know who invented Wi-Fi? Like the technology for Wi-Fi?
Let me guess. A woman?
Well, yeah. So if it wasn't for a woman, your podcast, you wouldn't have one, and it wouldn't have gotten demonetized.
Oh, good one. Yeah, so here's the thing. We do direct connect on our pod, so
I don't care.
Wi-Fi is, oh, now it's I don't care. Okay, great.
Hello, sir.
Make sure to hit the gym as well.
Sir. Hey,
Hey, just being honest, man.
sir.
Yeah, look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Sir,
hey,
if you're here to
the
have
girls
a
aren't gonna fuck you,
conversation,
man.
I'm trying to have one with you.
Like the girls aren't gonna fuck you, bro. White knighting is not gonna do it.
Okay, hi. Would you like to have an actual conversation?
Yeah, you gotta be respectful, man. Stay in topic. Stay professional.
This is fucking awesome. It's a learned skill that they need to develop to learn how to properly deal with women. So
Why
that
do
they
you
don't
need to
end
learn
up-
how to deal with people?
See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I teach guys to avoid women like you, as a matter of fact.
Thank you. Stay away
Yeah.
from me.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You should be in the kitchen somewhere, but it's fine. We'll have this discussion. Because a man's job is to be a leader and be assertive and convey information. Women, you guys will be quiet and make sandwiches. That's the difference.
You can make your own sandwich. If you need to take a crash course on how to talk to other people, you can take a crash course on how to make a fucking sandwich.
Anyway.
If you're such a strong provider,
You sound,
provide!
You sound mad that, like, do you know how to make a sandwich?
Yeah, I do. Want me to teach you?
No, thank you. That's woman's job.
I think you mentioned you have an open relationship, but specifically on your end.
Only on my end, yeah.
So you take the nuclear family, which is a...
Look at the body language of these guys, man. I'm gonna go get a different video. I'll see what y'all talking about. I'm gonna get like some much clearer in 4K so that you understand what I'm talking about. Just bear with me.
A loyal and...
Bear with me. Apologies. Now I got a much clearer video that actually details what this woman is actually basically asking Myron on, and I want you to see the body language of the spectators.
Slut.
Look at the body language of many of these spectators. A lot of these women are in awe. Some of these dudes are also in shock in what Myron is saying. And many of these kids, man, they are very young. They are very naive on that type of lifestyle that Myron is living. They don't know better. You know what I'm saying? Look at the body language of these people.
May I continue?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. So you're talking about how you have an open relationship. So you have the nuclear family.
Yep.
The stereotypical nuclear family is a loyal working husband who goes to the office or whatever, makes money, comes home to his wife, provides for his wife, takes care of his wife. You value highly the nuclear family, but you yourself are not taking a part of it. Why is that?
Well, I have a certain goal that I want to hit financially
hypocrisy.
before I, go ahead and have a family. Some business
External.
aspirations, and I want to make sure I get that out of the way so that when it is time to be a father, I can focus 100% on that and not necessarily be as tied up with work. So and that's kind of one of the, the good things about being a man is that though we are not born with value, if we work hard enough, we can create value, and that gives us a bit more time on the time clock versus for women, they have a fairly finite amount of time to be able to build a family. So for me, I'm focused on hitting a certain financial goal first so that when I do have my children, money never becomes a problem again.
But you talk about how women are born with an inherent value.
Yes.
I would differ that men are as well. And what you are doing...
Some men and women are born with high values. I can argue with that. But it all depends on the individual.
So the nuclear family, part of men's value comes from being loyal and being hardworking. And I feel like when you miss half of that, like what you're doing, you are then degrading and...
Degrading.
Sorry, not degrading.
Degrading.
Harming.
Misspoke.
Degrading.
Degrading,
Thank you, whoever
yes.
said that. The nuclear family and the idea of this, because you take this very almost shallow and kind of hollow, because every person has issues, and the nuclear family is by no means perfect. And you are then kind of showing the issues with it by your own actions and by your own kind of disregard for...
Well, my thing is, I think, again, I teach guys, hey, look, this is what you need to do, right? This is how you become attractive, get your life together. Now, when I arm guys with these tools, what they choose to do it is up to them. If they want to go ahead and have a family immediately, that's fine. If they want to go ahead and play the field, that's fine. But my thing is I want men to be in a position. The problem is that a lot of guys are in a relationship where their woman controls everything. She's making the decisions. She's bossing him around. There's no leadership there. I want the guy to be in a position where he can kind of dictate the terms. And if he decides, look, I want a family and I want to have a family early, I want him to do that through choice, not through necessity. A lot of guys are monogamous or in a relationship through necessity, not because they want to be. So I just want guys to be able to have that choice. That's the big thing. And then eventually, obviously, work towards a family. But I think the other thing, too, that's important is that men have to understand how modern women work.
My last question here is,
Sure.
What's your goal with coming out to this college campus where you have all of these people who very obviously are heckling you and do not want you to be here? What's your goal? Because obviously you're not really going to change people's minds with some of the more hateful messages that you're portraying.
Right.
Like, why are you here?
To start a revolution, to tell people the truth, something that's been missing for a very long time.
Yeah, man. Look at the body language of some of these people, man. I want to go back. I want to make sure I get back. And there's others that I didn't even catch up on. Right. One moment.
Might have to move the mic down for her, guys.
No, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And look at the body language of these people that are literally trying to heckle him and actually just thinking like how stupid of a motherfucking Myron is. This is... I'm about to go get on this stuff now. Just bear with me as I get all my thoughts together. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to specifically speak to the college students. All the young lads, all the young college students that are currently attending college right now. And I do want to actually just give you a moment to spit some game and school y'all in the case that an organization like Uncensored America comes to your campus. Okay? I want to give you a huge, serious piece of advice. Please, 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 ignore these motherfuckers whenever you see them. Don't patronize their stuff. I know it's definitely amusing actually trying to see them debate and spit all this foolishness and all these things. And I understand that. I can't imagine how much work that you got on your plate in addition to doing with all this fuckery. But please do not engage in that. Do not waste your time debating these fools at all. Don't waste your time debating these people that you're trying to correct them and show them who boss, because more times than not, they're not going to change. More times than not, they're going to still focus on a narrative, and much of it that actually spew out, much of the stuff that they mainly give out is not going to be fully practical in real life. It's not going to be fully realistic given the situation that we have up in American real life. And you're also too young to fully understand more about with status and what he's actually fully explained to you, given from somebody that's around his age, around Myron's age. Much of it is not practical. Much of it that he says is mainly external. Well, in reality, in order to actually hold a very strong foundational relationship down or main marriage down, you have to worry about focusing on the inner as well. It's not just all external. It all starts with the inner first. The inner is basically the main foundation of how everything mainly holds together. And if you find somebody that doesn't want to focus on inner and just focus specifically on external, more than likely you're going to deal with a sour relationship, and it may not last long. If you know about your self-worth, you know what the mindset you're on, and if you're dealing with people that's going to try and get somebody that's more than them, let the ass go, let the ass be, because at the end of the day, it's a reflection of who that person is. All right? Focus on your studies, focus on your school, focus on having fun with your friends, focus on having fun socializing with people, you know. Definitely try to learn, definitely try to actually talk. If they give you fits, screw them, let them go, walk away. They don't belong. All right? Do your best to try and make sure you get that bachelor's degree, get that undergraduate degree, so that you'll be able to actually try and make a killing in this world and continue to build on your social skills as well. All right? Because again, that nonprofit is paying these colleges big time money for them to actually be up in there. And those campuses and those board directors have a right to reject those people that's up in these campuses for sure. But the reason why they bring them on, they need the money And in some cases, those board directors more than likely have the same mindset as those nonprofit owners as well. So I do want to actually just give a quick peek of advice. If it does not align with your mindset on who you are, let it fly, let it be, continue focusing on you, continue to focus on the friends you have, continue to focus on that social life up in college, because it does fly very quickly just like this. All right? And as for these pseudo gurus of Myron Gaines, this dude is not going to change. Most of these people in Uncensored America are very fraudulent and they are very illegitimate. And there's actual proof in data that contradicts their arguments and contradict their proofs that you easily look up on in Google. All right, and all you gotta do is just make sure you actually type in the statement through AI, and they'll give you like some thorough research, and AI will give you like some huge details on where to start and where to find it. All right, no more talk from me. You know what I'm saying? It's just actually just kind of amuses me when your stick is not able to hold. It's just kind of crazy that you actually go turn into the alt-right lifestyle. And I tell y'all, when they feel that they done with him, they're going to use up Myron Gaines, and they're going to literally spit his ass out.
Appreciate it. Yeah. So I don't know, do you remember me at all?
No.
Okay. So can I ask a quick synopsis of what you think the prescription is for society today for men? In a short version, what do you think they should do to be successful with women?
To be successful with women, yeah. Okay, are we talking about like getting a girl for a long-term relationship, just to get laid? What are we talking about?
Well,
here?
I think the only reason should be for a long-term relationship and marriage. I mean, as Jesus Christ founded it, but I'm just curious what your prescription is.
Well, I've talked about this. I think guys have to have certain things in place, right, before they want to get into a long-term relationship. It's 5 things. So I would say $100K per year, 6 figures a year, 6 months to 1 year of savings, be in good shape, have at least 50 partners, right? Sexual body count.
All right, and then is that the last one?
And then there's one more, but that's fine. You could go ahead and engage with what I've said so far.
So the reason I asked that is I've watched almost every single podcast you ever did for about 1.5 years. So much so that I bought into a lot of the things that you said. And for about 2 years, it led me astray and significantly damaged my personal life, including relationships.
How did it lead you astray?
Well, you told me to go sleep with a bunch of women and date multiple women at the same time, which I did, and it significantly damaged my life. And it wasn't until I actually turned around and started listening to Jesus Christ that I was saved. Now I'm happily married. I have one child now with another one on the way, and I've never felt happier.